Welcome back to Telltale Books. I'm Greg,
I'm Emily.
and we're here to talk about a newer book by her favorite all-time author, Garth Nix, The Left-Handed Booksellers of London.
It's so good.
And that's a first edition. Is that one signed, right? I think. I thought I got a signed one. Might be in the very back.
In the back?
Sometimes they have a page in the back for signatures. Maybe I didn't with that one because I didn't know about it yet.
That's all right.
I thought I got that one signed. Okay, well, anyway.
It's Garth Nix, and I love it, so it's okay if it's not signed.
So it came out, I believe, in 2020.
Yep.
And we just now got around to reading it.
Because the next one came out.
Yeah, because we're going, as we're sitting here on March 20th, we are going down to Milwaukee on March 24th to hear Garth Nix speak at a bookstore.
Woo! We're very
for
excited.
The release of book 2 of the Left-Handed Booksellers.
Sinister Booksellers of Bath!
Yes.
I'm so excited. So yeah. So I'm already, super partial to Garth Nix.
Okay. So, go ahead.
All right.
Because you can't spoil it. You don't know how
I
it is.
can't spoil it because I'm only about 64% through it, according to Goodreads update and stuff. Because I've had a lot of life happen this week with work and things like that, and my attention span has been so. But I'm a majority of the way through it, and I am enjoying it so far. We kind of got through a period of time where it was a lot of character building, so it kind of was a little slow to start with little bits of adventure in it.
It had plenty of action.
Yeah, they had good action
along
in it, and it moved along, so it wasn't boring.
No.
But they did of course, he did a great job of character building. Our main protagonist is a female. Her mom is really woohoo for reasons that are myriad and complex. She thinks it's because her mom's on acid, but it turns out her mom has been a part of the old world, which is the magical world that kind of lays in an alternate dimension, right parallel to ours.
Well, yes and no.
And over top of ours, in a way.
It's kind of the Celtic idea that these magical creatures are in our world, but they are able to take us into
others
through these portals into their world, and so, so you have all these powerful beings all over that are super ancient.
Yes, and so unfortunately, our lead character gets thrust into a situation, not knowing who her father is, but going to the first person she could think of that he might be, only to get caught up into a bunch of crazy bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Her words. The weird shit, as they keep calling it.
She gets mixed up with them booksellers.
Them
and you know how bad that is.
Them booksellers, man, who are right-handed and or left-handed, and have certain abilities based off of whether they're left-handed or right-handed, and they can switch and become one or even-handed, as it's called. But she ends up meeting a guy named Merlin, who is at the house of the guy she thinks is her dad, only to murder the guy she thought was her dad, but realized wasn't. And he kind of explains to her what the old world is and what he's doing there, and trying to figure out why she's there. And then he gets injured, and she gets taken to a safe house, and then next thing you know, he's like, I realized I got injured because what I thought was attacking me was actually going for you. So that kind of brings up the whole issue of, who are you and why are they attacking you? And why were you at this guy who's a known, criminal overlord who also happens to be a magical being? And how do you know him? How does your mother know him? So it becomes this 20 questions. And of course, they have to spend the rest of the story exploring those answers. And then she gets kidnapped. Because they keep trying to kidnap her, and that's where they're like, who the fuck are you that they're trying to kidnap you? And she's like, I don't know! So yeah, it's a lot of interesting drama, slight romance happening in there, here and there. That's a little intriguing.
The romance is extremely Disney G-rated.
Yeah, it's very, very, G-rated. That's one of the things I like about Garth Nix is a lot of his young adult books are very clean. Even if there is romance, it's very downplayed because of all the action and adventure, so you don't feel like you're reading a romance novel. It still feels like the action, it keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of that, and really cool creatures, really cool reimaginings of, like, goblins and things like that. They're definitely really interesting. Not your typical what you would expect of an interpretation of some of these creatures and some of the fae and things that are encountered.
What were the little kids that went
Those
into
were the
a circle?
goblins.
Those were the goblins.
The Mayfair goblins, yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, and I think that was really well imagined.
Mm-hmm.
I also really enjoy it because I've been to London. So having been there and knowing where some of these places are, because some of these are real places that they're discussing, is really fun for me.
Okay.
Really enjoyed that part of it. So yeah, it's definitely a trip, and I'm really enjoying the adventure. I'm interested to see how it goes. You finished it, so you know how it ends.
Yeah, and I won't spoil.
Good. Because I actually wouldn't care if you did, but I'm really enjoying it.
I enjoyed it, but this isn't a book that if you gave me a synopsis, I would go out to buy it, because it's not my kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely young adult.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Merlin.
Yeah, he's kind of a cocky asshole. I get that.
Just starting with the name. He chose the name of Merlin. And right off the bat, I thought, oh, well, this is Merlin the wizard from King Arthur, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to turn out to be that Merlin.
Absolutely not.
And then it didn't. And
Yeah.
I thought, so I would have chosen any other name, just not Merlin.
Especially when his twin sister's name is Vivian.
Yeah.
Like, but there are a lot of, like, I love all the allusions to other stories.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some Tolkien references, and, like, of course they're booksellers, so they talk about books, and, like, our name... This is also based in, like, what is it, the 80s? 70s?
70s, late 70s.
Yeah, because it's, like, when Billie Jean had just come out.
Yeah.
As mentioned by
Okay,
Michael
early
Jackson.
80s.
Yeah, early 80s. So, like, there's all this 80s vibe stuff going on, and they're mentioning, like, at the old bookshop where they sell the new books, all the new releases in the window. I'm like, oh, jeez. Like... It's really fun, and I like that. I love how they keep complaining. It's like, damn children's fantasy authors always giving away the old world secrets. That kind of stuff. So it's really fun. All the literary references are great. Like, if you've been to London, you'll probably really enjoy this, because it talks a lot about big features of London that are fun and that I've visited and seen.
But it's got a ton of imagination.
Tons.
Very imaginative. It's got a lot of action. It moves
very quickly. If it weren't for my ADD brain, I probably would have had this done in a day.
It's light reading. Being young adult, it's not anything that you're going to find difficult. And that's kind of where it loses me a little bit, is that it's just seems a little too light for me.
Yeah, it's not high fantasy in your opinion.
I mean, not that everything I read is James Joyce, but it just seemed a little young for me, for my taste.
I liked it.
And like I say, I didn't like Merlin. I didn't like how he constantly would stop the action to talk about wardrobe. Sarah J. Maas did that in her books, and I hated it because it felt like we were playing Barbie through the whole book, because she'd constantly stop and talk about hair and makeup and dress, and I hated that.
I felt that way about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Like, can you stop describing fish to me, please? We get it. You're under the sea. There's fish. Good for you. No, and I like it. I liked it.
Yeah, so apparently
they really handed a lot to me.
I couldn't care less what
I like
wearing.
it, though, because Merlin is, like, fashion obsessed. That made sense to me, because you have a fashion obsessed Merlin who's also, like, sometimes cross-dressing and doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah. I think that's an important part of his very flamboyant and douchey character. So I don't mind that.
Me. I don't care about fashion.
Yeah.
I don't give a rip. I don't want to hear what they're
There's also kind
wearing.
of a lot of references to people being kind of gender fluid, and I think that's why he's trying to make it obvious, but not so obvious as coming out and saying it's gender fluid, because this is the 80s. Who's calling it that? No one. Or 70s. Nobody's calling it that.
No.
So I think he's trying to make it obvious that these things existed in that time, too, and these people kind of are leaning that way, but
Yeah,
not coming out and saying it.
Constantly go into every last little detail about their wardrobe.
I like it. I like fashion.
I think
it's for the cosplayers.
I guess.
It's for the cosplayers. Which is a great topic. We should talk about how they talk about fashion so much. We should do that as a topic.
Yeah, that
and how it annoys you, but now it is for marketing.
Modern fantasy. Your generation loves all that fashion plate stuff in these books, and I don't. Yeah. I don't want to know how they did their makeup.
I don't need every outfit. Maybe some of them.
You know, I'd rather hear about them fighting the monster than to stop and hear about how where their shoes are from and crap like that.
Yeah. Also, my whole thing is too. She grew up in the country with a mom who was loopy. Mm-hmm. How does she know all these fashion brands to describe them to us?
I don't know.
I don't know. A little weird. A lot of plausible deniability to lean on that one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it's for the cosplayers, because I would dress up like Merlin any day.
Yeah, what it comes down to is this book wasn't written for me.
No, it's definitely for a younger generation, but I enjoy it because I grew up with Garth Nix. I like his writing style. It is light. Mm-hmm. It is a fun, clean adventure read.
Yeah, it was gripping. It was exciting.
Yeah, it's fun. Very fun. So I enjoy his writing style a lot, and that I think is the appeal for me, because a lot of his books are like this, where it's very fast-paced, action-based stuff, and devils in the details a little bit, but I enjoy it. So
one thing I really do like about this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's part of a series, but it's a standalone too. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You get good closure at the end of this.
You could read this book and stop, and you'd be fine. You don't have to go on to the next one, because I've got the Sinister Booksellers of Bath as an arc from NetGalley, and I did crack it open and start reading chapter 1. And, you do not have to go on to the Sinister Booksellers. This story is wrapped up completely in this book.
I feel like there's
But if you like the characters and want more, he's got a sequel.
Of the works that I have read of his, I think the Keys to the Kingdom series is the only one where they aren't good standalones, because you're going through every day of the week.
Yeah.
And there's like a demigod of every day of the week that you're kind of meeting throughout this very interesting plot line. And then I think in the Aberson series, Lyriel and Aberson run into each other. So you kind of have a cliffhanger in one to continue in the other, but that's because it was such a dense story.
Yeah.
You needed the 2 books, and they were well over 300 pages, I think, or something like that. So I feel like he does that, though, quite frequently in a lot of his series, like Sabriel or Sabriel, however you say it, is a really great standalone story as part of the Aberson series.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, because we're in an age where every fantasy writer releases their book, and this is book 1 of a 12-book series.
I don't have the attention span for 12 books. I don't want to get into
another series.
It has to be really compelling. Everything. I think Keys to the Kingdom and Harry Potter are the 2 series that I read that were more than 3 books.
Yeah.
Or 4 books, I think.
You just get tired of it. You just want...
You get burned out on it.
You just want to be able to read a book and not have to read the entire 12-book series where each book is 1,000 pages. It just...
Yeah, it's a lot. No, it's a lot of time to dedicate to.
I like this where I could read this and stop if I wanted, or I can go on to Sinister Booksellers of Bath, which I believe was supposed to be released today as we record.
Yay!
So, it's out, and you can buy it.
It's out there.
I thought I saw March 20th.
I think I think the 20th is when it started. So. Very fun. I'm also very excited to read Sinister Booksellers of Bath, because I've also visited Bath.
Okay.
So I think it'd be fun to see the city through another lens, so to speak, even if it's fantasy. I find that very novel, actually. I really enjoy that kind of thing. Okay. Like, when Neil Gaiman went to House on the Rock and American Gods, I'm just like, I've been there! I get excited about that kind of thing. I know where that place is. This is a fun way of perceiving it. So... It makes it a little more magical and fun, so I enjoy that. So yeah, Left-Handed Booksellers. Do you think it's a top tale? I'll trust you. It's okay if it's not. I'm not offended.
I'm not the right person to make the judgment because it wasn't written for me.
Okay. Well, I'll decide for us then when I'm done reading it. So not sure it's a top tale yet.
Is it as good or better than Sabriel?
No. It's not. Well, I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know. There might be a nice twist in there.
Finish it first.
Yeah.
Because it is a good book. I got to give it that.
Okay. Alrighty.
And, if I didn't have those concerns of how it wasn't really written, marketed towards old white guys, if that wasn't there, I probably would love it. But that is there. It is a little too young for me, and so I'm not quite sure if it's good enough.
Alrighty.
To make it.
That's a fair assessment. So we will keep you updated then.
I'm prejudiced about it.
Oh, prejudice. Yeah, sorry. So
see our other video.
You see our other video on prejudice. So yeah, this is definitely a good read, and we will keep you up to date on whether we put this as a top tale or not once I finish it.
No matter what, we're going to be reviewing the sequel.
Yeah, we will indeed. So
and that one will be signed. At least it better be, because I paid for it.
If not, we're going to go assault Garth Nix on Friday.
No, don't say that.
No, I'm not. I'm kidding.
We haven't been there yet.
Garth Nix, sign my book!
Yeah, you can't do that, by the way. Don't bring that Friday and ask them to sign.
I won't.
A lot of authors, because what they're doing is they're mailing it after the fact. Mm-hmm. He's not going to take the time to sign books there.
Yeah, the importance is to have him there to do his talk, which I am very excited about.
But
so
think of questions.
Oh, I will. I'll question everything. I find that he writes a lot of female protagonists. I think that's really well done too. And it's well done, even in this one. Even though it's obvious that Susan is androgynous in some form or another because of fashion choices.
Sense. You thought she was androgynous? I thought she was just kind of typical goth girl.
No,
type.
I think it's androgyny.
I don't know.
Because they're, But so is Merlin,
but,
so...
She talks about wearing the rock t-shirts. That's like Samantha. Samantha's not androgynous.
Grunge, maybe. But also wearing the suits. She was wearing the suit and tie for that particular part between when she gets off work on her day off and then all the shit starts going down. Okay.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. So I feel like that's implying that there's androgyny.
Okay.
I did because you were skipping over the fashion parts, weren't you? That's how I knew.
Fashion. I don't want to hear about
liked
clothes.
It though. I liked that it was just being treated like clothes. And not like it was gendered or anything. I kind of appreciated that. But I think that was... The 70s was kind of when people were starting to do that more. You just wore what you liked. In 80s.
Yeah,
wore what you liked.
There were statements to that effect. The average person out on the street didn't do that unless they wanted to get the crap beat out of them.
But it's Europe. David Bowie!
Even there, yeah. At the rock concerts, yes. But... on the everyday street or going to work, you didn't dress that way.
I suppose. Well, anyway, guys, I'm enjoying it. Greg read it and said it was good, so I can trust him on that. I will finish it and let you know if it's a top tale.
Buy it and read it, and buy the new one and read it.
Garth Nix is a fantastic author who I will never stop making shameless plugs for because I enjoy all his work. Even if it's not like the best work I've ever had, I at least enjoyed it. There's nothing I've encountered yet that I said I didn't like.
Yeah.
So... go, enjoy, comment, tell us what you think, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.